Hey everybody, this is D Hunter bringing you another action figure review. Today, we're going to be looking at the Mafex Catwoman figure from the storyline Batman Hush. This is the third character they've released from the Hush storyline. We have two variations of Batman, then Superman, now Catwoman, and there is a Joker in Hush upcoming. So let's go and check out the packaging here. As you can see, got Catwoman in here, bunch of alternate hands, couple extra heads, backpack, and her whip. At one side, Batman Hush, Catwoman, Batman Hush version, Mafex DC Medicom toys. At the top, it says Batman Hush. One side of the package, Batman Hush. Other side, we've got Catwoman posed up. And this is the 123rd figure in the Mafex line. At the bottom, there's a bunch of credits, and there is a barcode in case that helps anybody. And on the back, we've got Catwoman posed up in 3 different positions, and then you can see all 3 of her heads. So with no further ado, let's open her up. And I did get 2 of these figures, one of which to open and enjoy, and one to keep unopened in my complete 6 and 7 inch Batman-related unopened action figure collection. And here's the entire collection of Mafex Hush figures. Like I said before, we've got 2 more characters upcoming, and I hope they continue with this line. Alright, now that we got this figure out of the package, here she is with all of her accessories laid out. She does come with a display stand. She has 2 alternate heads, totaling 3 interchangeable heads. And then she has 10 alternate hands, totaling 12 hands. She also has an alternate midsection with a different belt on it. I thought it was a backpack at first. And then she also has her whip. But before we take a look at the accessories, let's take a look at the actual figure. So this is Catwoman as she appeared in the Hush comics. This is the outfit she had at that point in time. Goggles look good, the ears kind of short, the red lips. You can see the zipper on her neck from her outfit here. She got that spandex outfit, very tight, not too many details on the figure, but I guess that's how it'd be if you had skin-tight outfit on. Fingers look a little bit sharp, almost clawish. I'm really liking the way she looks. Definitely captures that comic look of the era. Got some buckles on her feet. Looks like double jointed knees, double jointed elbows. In theory, you're going to have to be able to pull her apart to switch out the midsection. So I'm hoping she's not very loose if you continue to do that. So far, so good. And then here she is, broken down as far as she can go, with all of her removable parts detached. Now let's look at her accessories, and let's start with the boring stuff, her display stand. Here's the display stand. It comes in 3 different pieces. We've got the base, the pole, and then the clamp. It's all transparent. Once her display base is put together, it looks like this. It's going to have a swivel at the bottom there, hinge here, another here, another here, and it can swivel with the clamp, and then it can also shut to hold your figure. Now let's look at her hands. She has a total of 12 of them. Here's Catwoman with her first pair of hands. These are her fists. Here's her next pair of hands. Both these hands are sort of pointing with her index finger. She's got her sharp finger sticking out there. Now this could be as if she's pointing at somebody. Maybe she's using that finger and she's scratching around a circle in a glass case. Or maybe she's threatening to poke somebody's eye out here. And then her next pair of hands here, it looks like she's giving you a thumbs up. These are her semi-open gripping hands. Pretty sure they're intended to hold her whip. And these hands here, she has her claws out. Looks like she's about to scratch somebody. Then these hands here, they're completely outstretched. And here's your final pair of hands. These are what I would call the most normal or relaxed pair of hands she has. Now let's check out her heads. The first head has a normal expression with the goggles on. The second one has an angry expression with the goggles on. And the third one has the goggles up. Here's her first head. This one has the regular expression and the goggles on. And here's her second head. This one has the angry expression and the goggles down. Then here's her third head. This one has the goggles up, showing her face. Here are her 2 different torso pieces. The one I prefer is on the left. I think it looks a little better. The one on the right, I believe, is supposed to have her whip wrapped around her waist. So far, I'm having no issues with the swapping. It's not too loose, and it's not too tight. It's just right. Here she is with her first torso. Then with her second torso, this one has the whip wrapped around. Now let's look at her whip, a must-have accessory for a Catwoman figure. You can tell this is the handle here. It's a little bit thicker. It's made of a pretty soft, sort of bendable material. It's not a wire though, and it looks pretty nice. It kind of simulates rope there. So I guess it's supposed to be like this. First of all, she's standing there. She's got the whip wrapped around her waist, and then she needs to pull it out. And you would then have her like this, switch out her torso, and have her cracking the whip. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and her accessories, now let's check out her height. From bottom to the top, she's sitting at about 6.0 inches tall, which is going to translate to a little bit over 15 centimeters. And now, for her articulation. Start with her head here. Of course, she can rotate from side to side. She can look up and down about that much. She's got a ball joint at the bottom of her head, top of the neck, and then she can also move her at the bottom of her neck, giving her a very wide range of motion here. She can tilt her head from one side to the other. Just has a lot of personality here. Shoulders on a ball joint, goes out about this far. If you want to go further, no problem. You can raise it up. You can always rotate if you need her arm to go a different direction. She's got a butterfly joint here, just giving her a very wide range of motion. Her shoulder kind of drops up and down as well. Bicep cut below that. Double jointed elbows going about this far. Her wrist here, it can rotate and it's hinged as well. Ball joint in her torso, rotate around, forward and back, having no problem with popping out. Ball joint in her waist here, rotate around, forward and back, giving her a very wide range of motion. For an articulated figure, very nice to have that for Catwoman. Her legs, they go out about this far. Ball joints, forward about that much, back not too much. Can rotate. Double jointed knees all the way back. No boot cut here. Ankles on ball joints, forward back, rotate, tilt a little bit, and toe articulation. And if you wanted her to kick, her leg can go all the way out. You can have her crouch on one knee, no problem. She can kind of crouch and creep around like a cat. Here's a crime boss in Gotham City. His name's Jigsaw. You can see his henchmen all over the place. Catwoman is scoping it out. She's very interested in what's in the safe there. She's looking in through the skylight on the rooftop. She waits until later on that night when everything is quiet, sneaks in and approaches the safe. She finally gets the safe open, and as you can see inside of there, there's some cash, there are diamonds, but what Catwoman is interested in are the tapes up top. She wants to blackmail Jigsaw and get even more. But of course, things don't go as smoothly as planned. And just when things were looking really bad for Catwoman, Batman drops in to save the day. The two of them are going to make short work of these thugs. And here's Batman chasing Catwoman through the rooftop. And of course, Batman and Catwoman's night is going to end with Batman kissing and embracing Catwoman. And here's Catwoman inside of her apartment. As you can see, there are cats absolutely everywhere. She's got a jade cat and a cat statue in the back. There's her bed. She's got her nightstand here. We've got some earrings and necklace. Her bola's on the chair. And her entire apartment in the background. Now let's check her out next to some of our action figures, starting off with some of our Mafex Hush figures. Here she is next to the figure that started the line. Here she is next to the blue and gray Hush Batman. This is a comic Batman in his traditional blue and gray colors, and Mafex just absolutely knocked this guy out of the park. This is one of their first comic Batman figures, and all the comic figures they've made have just been stellar. I cannot wait to see what they have next. And of course, they also made a black and gray version of Batman. This might be better than the blue and gray version. It just depends on your personal preference. And let's not forget, Mafex also made a Hush Superman. a pretty classic looking Superman figure, a great addition to the line, and great compliment to the Hush Batman. Here's the entire Mafex Hush collection, and we still have Joker and Hush coming out. I would love to see them dig further into the line. I'd love to see a Harley Quinn, Tim Drake Robin, Nightwing, and many, many more. Now let's check her out next to some older DC Direct Hush figures. Here she is next to the DC Direct Hush Catwoman. This figure is a slightly larger scale. She's less articulated. I don't have my goggles for her anymore, as I used them to make a custom Roxy Rocket many years ago. And I noticed this figure also has the whip around her waist. The DC Direct line has made all the same characters that Mafex has made so far. We've got the blue and gray Batman, Catwoman, the black and gray Batman, and Superman. And DC Direct has also made the upcoming figures that Mafex is making in the Hush line. We've got Joker, and then both versions of Hush, Thomas Elliott and Jason Todd. If Mafex wants to go deeper than DC Direct, that'll be quite the task. And here she is, next to the entire DC Direct Hush collection. Like I said before, if Mafex wants to go deeper into the character selection, they're going to have to try very hard. Now let's check her out next to some other Catwoman figures. Here she is, next to all of my DC Direct and DC Collectibles Catwoman figures. Then, next to all of my Mattel Catwoman figures. And here she is, next to my other Mafex Catwoman figures. Then, next to a DST, or Diamond Select Toys, Gotham Selena Kyle. And here she is, next to my Mezco 1/12 cloth soft goods Catwoman figures. Then, next to a Soap Studios Catwoman. And now, next to a Yamato Catwoman. Then, next to some Kenner Catwoman figures. And here she is, next to an SH Figure Arts Catwoman figure. Then, next to a Hot Toys Catwoman. And here's my entire Catwoman action figure collection. I definitely don't have all of them, but I'd say I definitely have most of them. Now let's look at her next to some other cat-themed action figures. Here she is, next to a couple of Catman figures. Then, next to some Cheetah figures. Here she is, next to Wildcat. Then, next to a custom Tigress. And here, next to a couple of Fortnite figures, both Meowskulls and Kit. And now let's check her out next to some action figures from different various companies to see how she fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix her with. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect and work my way smaller. Here she is, next to some DST or Diamond Select Toys. And here she is, next to some McFarlane toys. I really hope McFarlane makes a Catwoman in the DC Multiverse line in the near future, please. Then, next to some DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures. And here, next to some NECA figures. Then, next to some Mattel wrestling figures. And here she is, next to some Mezco 1/12 cloth soft goods action figures. Then, next to some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures. And here, next to some of her Mafex brothers and sisters. Then, next to some Hasbro Marvel Legends. And here she is, next to some SH Figure Arts action figures. And finally, here she is, next to some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, this is a great Catwoman figure. She's a little on the smaller side of what I collect, but that's just fine. She'll fit in great with the Mafex collection. She's a little smaller than your average Mafex figure, as Catwoman's a little bit shorter than Batman and those guys. Her articulation is just superb. She can hit almost any pose you want her to. Her accessories are pretty good as well. Her sculpt and paint job are fantastic. I don't see any blemishes at all. If I were to rate this figure, I'm going to give her a 7.5 out of 10. Definitely enjoying her quite a bit. There's a lot I can do with this figure. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will talk to you guys real soon.